Hello, I'm Toto, and today we'll be doing a tier list, probably the first, second tier list I've done, so don't think too much about it and don't be too hard. This is going to be a tier list for FE8 free-to-play. I won't be taking too much consideration into LTCs nor speedruns because one, I don't do those things, and second, it matters a lot, and it can matter on an speedrun and on an LTC. You'll be playing less fights probably because you have less turns or want to reach the C style faster. You'll probably be doing less fights, meaning that there are less weapons wasted, which would lead to other things more important, like movement could be more important thanks to that. And well, because of that, movement will be more important. You had to reach tiles within a certain turn or reach sooner, and that'll be more important for that. That's one of the reasons I won't be taking that into account. And yeah, this is not sure if you've seen anything. I'll be talking first about the way I set up this tier list, starting from the first row. This is where I put each weapon type. Now it has its unique place because on a free-to-play challenge, you kind of want to use every single weapon, every single resource at your disposal. So that's why I place them all separately, because you kind of want to use them all. That said, I have one more column, which is this multi-type. That is because there are some units that can make use of more than one weapon type equally good enough. Like, you could choose them for anything and you'll be fine. This is not just placed randomly. Multi-type is first because it's likely the best choice, and there are order. The second choice is axes. I do think axes are better than lances because there might be a little more one-to-range axes. I couldn't bother check too much. I know I check on the WOD page the obtainable items, but there are some items you get from units that doesn't show up there. So there might be the same amount of axes and lances that are one-to-range. That said, axes do have the headset, which can be hammered for over 2 javelins, and it has 50 uses, unlike javelins that have 20, so it might do better, and there might be more axes. Still, I also think axes are better because they are better with weapon triangle advantage. I do think there are more lances and axes than sword enemies, and sword enemies can be fought with 2 ranged weapons fairly easy without taking damage. So axes on that regard are better than lances, and that's why I put them there. I do mention this because I am not so sure, and some people may think otherwise. Second is lances because yeah, there is no much to explain. And the third one, I put swords over magic. The reason is because when I was playing the free-to-play Iron Man, I never lacked swords, even though I lose quite a few. I always have, and the availability is important. Knowing that I can almost always be using a sword is important. And this tier list is not meant to only Iron Man, it could be more on general, but Iron Man purposes is a little better because if you lose a weapon on an Iron Man, you lose it. So it's more scarce resources in case you lose someone. That will become more important for these teams. So next I have saves. Even though it's true that on my Iron Man I lose my early zone staves and I couldn't heal, meaning that it was not important. It was not as important to heal as to fight. It means also that I could have gotten 2 more staves and still heal. So without losing any, I would be able to use staves all the way through from the start to the beginning. So it's good. It's better than anima, light, magic, and other magic types because there is availability. I could have saves on all the breakthrough. If you're not Iron Man in this, you'll have them. While on anima, I ran out. When I chose Eureka route, I didn't have more anima, so that's why it's after, and it's before all the remaining ones because there is more animatomes. There are many more animatomes. Well, many more. There are quite a few. You can use them. I managed to train loot to S rank, and I could probably have trained Sale to S rank if I wanted to. Not sure if I could have done another one. Then we got bows. It's more or less like anima. It's worse. I think you get a few less. I did also run out of bows for Name Me, I think, or games at some point. Like, and when I was getting the steel bow from a monster, a terror, I didn't have any more bows. I think I have like 2 or 3 uses at most. And then we have dark. I believe there are more dark tomes than bows, or at least it seems that way, and that is because you get many dark tomes. The thing though is you get them up right when Null joins, and that is really late. Because it's so late, I don't want to put dark over bows because you don't get access to dark magic until that much later in the game. You get that for 6 chapters, I think, and that is why it's worse. One of the reasons, but like, yeah, it's worse because you barely have any time to use it. And to end that tire, we have light magic. Light magic is bad itself. The light magic is itself bad, but the availability is terrible. You had 1 light tome, you have 1 divine, and maybe you can have the aura from Reed and the S-rank tome. That is enough to take Sale into S-rank if you wanted to, and you can hammer the light tome or the divine depending on who you are using. It's really bad, and I should also mention that I made it to say that first, that this is focused on Eureka route. That is also slightly important, not too much. The tire would differ a little if you pick Ephraim route, because Ephraim route is not exactly the same. I remember that right now because on Ephraim route you can have 1 more light on, which isn't great, especially because I think you get that on Grados Castle, so it's also quite late. But yeah, you get a little more weapons from different weapon types, and that could make the tires different. That and the joining chapter, it also matters. Okay, let's move on to the names of each tire. I have main, replacement, utility, and main, in case you are unable to see that. So main is self-explanatory, I guess. Main is the unit you would be using mainly for that weapon type, and main is also the main user of the secret weapon, the S-rank weapon. Replacement is a unit you would use if you had lost the main, kinda. I use that term because of the Iron Man settings, but it can be used a main and a replacement and two mains, because you can use a second main as a replacement. A replacement is a second user. Is the second unit you would train for S rank in case you can, because you may not be able to do that. And yeah, that's more or less what a replacement is. It doesn't need to be bad. It's more like it's there in case you want to use the S rank weapon. It can be trained easily for that purpose, or you can use him. You'll see. Then we have utility. Utility, it's what the term people use it for things like summoners, thieves. Rescue drops could also be considered utility. And I would also put on utility some other things when I do that. And finally we got meme is technically units that may offer utility. I'm not saying if they wouldn't, but like it's not worth it's like probably not even worth deploying them or giving them a weapon. They just care to have a unit, because deployment slots, unit characters make the game not empty with units. They're not units you would use, they're units that you would need to put effort into them, and like high effort to achieve the same results of the main or replacement. Even for utility, these units, they're at the bottom here. That's it. I have on the first square of all special. That is where I'll put only two units. The special are, in case you haven't figured it out yet, the Dancer and Mir. I couldn't put them anywhere else, and they're special. Mir will have a perfect weapon, and Tethys doesn't use any weapon. I had to put them there. They're unique, and they're probably really good. Okay, let's start with this one. I haven't placed them all, so I had to load them. And first we have Amelia. Amelia is just me. I'll put them on the first side. I'm going to make order each style, and Amelia is probably I may change the placements once I load them all, but I think Amelia is probably the best meme unit of all, because she can get to Grey Knight or General if you wanted to. Grey Knight is better, and that is good. A Grey Knight can get access to swords, lances, and axes, and that makes her get access to all 1-2 range lances and axes at the same time if you want to. That is really good, and also it's mounted, so she can rescue drop if needed. I won't put her on utility because of that, because there are other units that could serve the utility purpose that are better, and you need a lot of experience into her to achieve that. I guess not for utility, you only need 9 levels for that, but to be a combat unit you need many more. And the low weapon round, low levels, is not good. You are limited with resources. It's quite generous this game, but still I want to mention that it's more or less like that. Their units are way better. Okay, let me see if I can load the next unit. Okay, so I'll be doing that way. I'm going to load them on order, this order, just because it's okay. So I load Arthur. Where should I put Arthur? Well, Arthur is on light, obviously. I'm not going to make him on saves because he mainly uses slide, and to be honest, you probably don't want. And you're not a replacement, you're not a main. I know you are using that, but you're not there. So I'm going to place you on utility for light. It's fine that you're there, Scott. I could change that, but like I'm going to place you there. Who cares? You're going to be on utility. Why are you on utility instead of main, despite you being the first lightmates? Because you are exactly the first lightmates. The only one, but it's the first lightmates. You're not on main because you're not worth it. It's really hard to make him level 10 to promote him with only the light on you begin with. And until you get the divine or sign, if you pick a frame route in case. And there will be a lot of chapters you are unable to play. You are almost with no weapons for like half the game, and that is really bad. You could try, it is probably possible to make him level 10 and promote him into a bishop or a sage for anima and staves, but that would make you change into another tire, like using anima, using staves, or maybe using multi-type even, but like you won't use light magic, and I don't want to put someone on multi-type because of the staves and anima. You are on utility because you join early, so you are the only unit that could use light magic at that moment, and that means you have a unit that can fight and no one else could use that weapon at that moment, so that is a utility. Is a good utility? Probably not, but it's still a utility. You're not a replacement because you are not going to get S rank on light. That's not gonna happen. So you are unable to be a replacement of anything. It's not worth making you a main user of light. If you want to use him, you can. It's really hard though, and it's not a main because like you're not even going to use him to be a main. you just had to wait until you get more weapons to do that, and it's not like you're bad when doing combat. It's not good, but it's still something. Okay, let me load the next one. Okay, which is next? Calm is next. One more thing because of Calm. I checked the WOD page not only for obtainables. I'll be linking the main pages. It's not like I check the main pages because I had to check every unit data on its page. I'll be putting the character data and maybe the average state data is even a page. I said that because I had to check Calm, because units that are sharing the same tile, I had to at least check the stats to choose where I should book him. Obviously, you're not going on Axis. You're going to be on main. Actually, you might be the best sword main unit. The reason is that, as mentioned, I had to check the stats, and you are fast to double things. You have the utility as well of stealing things throughout the whole game, so that is something I had to value. I could put you on utility, but like you join early. Your stats aren't bad, your clothes are fine, you'll be fast enough to double most things. I'll talk more about you once I have more units, but yeah, you are probably there. Okay, let me load the next one. Who's going to be now? I'm going on alphabetical order because that's what I have. So it's in Cormac. Okay, Cormac, I think I make him Lances, obviously. And he's a replacement, or is he a utility? He's not a main. That I have clear. At this moment, I don't think he's needed to be a main. So yeah, I guess I'll put him as a replacement for now. The reason is that he joins quite late. I'm talking about the Rika route again, so he joins later than Tana. And by that point, you'll probably have S rank lances on. You could have S rank lances on your other flyers if you have 10 them, which you probably will because they're likely to be mates. Another reason I'm making this unit not better than the Pegasus Knights, most Pegasus Knights, is because he lacks the speed to double. And even though speed isn't that much of an issue, even though maybe I should value more one-shot potentials, I have a lot of lances. Lances are probably the weapon you have the most. So you're not going to run out of weapons. That much I can tell you. That is without making sure you go for one-shots. Meaning that it's not as important to think about one-shots. Even on this challenge. Maybe on other weapons like light magic, that could be important, but not on this. Okay, let me load the next one. Who's it gonna be now? Dosla. Of course, your Axis, you're not a main. Utility, I don't think so. You are probably going to be as a replacement. You're not a main, join quite late. This is one of the reasons why I wouldn't put you out on a main. Because waiting until that point seems bad. It's true that I place as a utility instead of main Arthur, but like there's a point where I don't think it's worth considering a main unit if it is too late. So you're a replacement, you have B rank on Axis. That is good enough. It's not great, but you're on a berserker that can have some crits, so going for one-shots on you, even if you don't one-shot the enemy, the chances of critting is nice to have. Okay, let me see. You were Tosla. Now let's load the next one. So now we have Dussel. Dussel for Erika route again is also a replacement. He's going to be on multi-type. He came with triple A. Came with A on sword, lances, and axes. I don't think I could ask for anything better because I really doubt they will give us an S rank unit. So yeah, you are a replacement, a really good replacement. Multi-type is the best class, and being able to make you to train you for S ranks on any, you can only have one, but you can choose which, is really good. The only complaint I will have on him, besides the low speed, is the fact that it's still quite late, so it's a little hard to reach S rank. You probably might need to focus on that, or use the forest chapter, the previous to the last one, to train him weapon rank. Okay, let's load the next. Let's load let's load the next one. Eureka. I could place Eureka and Ephraim on special because they're lords, they're force deploy unlike other units, and they have paired weapons unlike other units. But at the end of the day, they still have a weapon I could tire them on. It seems odd, you're not on lances, you're on swords. It seems odd that I place them on replacement instead of mains, because as mentioned, Rika is force deploy, so you may think that I should put her as a main because I will deploy her always. On an Ironman perspective, I don't want her to do combat because the best way for me to knock game over is to make the game over conditions not fight at any moment. So it's not ideal to make them a main. She wouldn't be too bad because she's fast. She can usually double anything. Another reason why I would place her on replacement and not utility after promotion, it's the fact that she came with paired weapon, the rapier, and then she got a secret weapon, the singlet thing it's called. It's nice. I doubt those weapons would be enough for her to train enough to get S rank. You probably need other weapons at the same time. You don't need to train for S rank. I guess that's another reason I may not even put him a replacement and more of a utility. But she doesn't have the utility until she promotes. She has another Myrmidon. So, and she's a replacement because she can reach S rank. You kinda don't want to. She's probably not the best sword replacement unless there are any other. Because what I said, she doesn't need to have S rank for that sword. Okay, let's load the next unit. So who do we have this time? Okay, we have your brother Ephraim. So Ephraim would be on lances, and I will tire him the same way. I'll have to probably change this after. And the reason is mainly the same. As he has paired weapons and he'll get a horse at some point. He doesn't need to train for S-rank for a secret weapon, so it's not that much needed to train him. That's the reason I would probably put him behind Cormac. That and the fact that they have a force time promotion, so you are not allowed to get them until then. And well, you have also low availability for Erika route. That's also a factor to take. So yeah, Cormac would do better than you. Okay, who's going to be next? Next, we have A1. Where should I put A1? Well, should he be on multi-type? I don't think so. Especially because the multi-type is odd on him. I would put him on dark. Despite that he comes with anima magic and that he could be trained for a sage and a mage knight, I think his performance will always do better as a dark, as a summoner. Summoners are really good, and that utility is unique. It's important. Even if it is the second summoner, even if you manage to get both to summoner, it's better to have two phantoms than to have only one. Even up to that point, I'd say that it's better for him to go summoner about everything else. And also there are probably better mates, anima mages. And even though I said there are quite a few animatomes, I'm not sure if there would be enough animatomes to tame Lud and him at the same time, which means that I probably would not be able to play the main and replacement on anima. What just happened? Well, whatever. I guess I have moved the one that was not supposed to move. Doesn't matter because I can load anything. Okay, so now we have 4. He's multi-type on main, and you're not 4 because I had to be careful because this is fragile. I don't want this to. Yep, you are a multi-type on main. I don't care what you said, what people said. 4 is great. Knight. He's great on Grey Knight. He needs to go on Grey Knight because multi-type is for that. Is mainly for you get axes and lances at the same time. Getting all the 1-2 range weapons is really good, and making sure you don't run out of that is helpful. He joins on 5x, and that's a chapter when for Erika route the only units that you could train, that you could keep levels that will keep their levels, are him and Kyle. I mainly use Kyle and Ephraim on that cliff on my Iron Man because I still wasn't sure whether I was going Erika route or Ephraim route. I think I was sure, but I still use Ephraim. And you can give them a lot of levels. You can probably make them level 10 if you wanted to. And as a knight, you can use swords and lances. I'm saying that because it is slightly important to balance those things out, just to make sure you don't get S-rank lances. I think you won't get them upon promotion immediately, even if you had A rank on lances. I'm not sure, but just make sure you don't do that, so you could train for Garm. And what's even better is that 4 doesn't even need to train for Garm. 4 can actually have the speed to double the final boss, which is 23 speed, with Bit of Near. He really lacks the strength. I had to check where there are tiles with multiple units. He lacks the strength, and I will put Kyle over him because of that. He lacks the strength, and that's bad. But he still has access to all 1-2 range lances and axes. Technically swords as well if you manage to train him also swords for the runic sword, but that's not worth it. I did not want to do that. I wanted to rename. Now let me pick the one I want. Okay, who's this one now? So now I have France. Okay, I guess it's time for me to fix this a little. So France is, well, is France going there? Is France going into that class? I mean, you can train him, but like it's not worth it. No, you were going on replacements. Yes, I remember. You were going to be on a replacement. Should you be better than do so or not? You have much more availability. As mentioned, lances are lacking, so you can actually train a unit with that. Not sure if you should be better than him. I know Fran's stats are really good. Like he can beat 4 stats, which maybe is not much, but it's something. And that is because they barely have the same stats, but you have way less levels. The thing is, Fran's weapon ranks do lag quite a lot, which I guess it's a factor, a beneficial for him for once, because it means that it's really hard to, by only using lances, reach A rank. So it would be unlikely for him, by only using lances, to reach S rank. And yeah, as the same goes for, yeah, you're better than do so. So you are better than Dusol for availability and for kind of what I said. Okay, let me try the next one. Well, not yet. I had to rename this. Could you please? Okay, who's this time? So now we have Garcia, who uses axes. I know he can get to bows and swords, but because of the tire system of the weapon types, I'm not going to bother building this unit on multi-type, because axes are they are enough axes, and yeah, you're going to be on utility. Why? Kind of the same reason as Arthur. The reason is that you join early, and that is a utility, and your stats are quite bad. So training you for S rank on Garm is possible. The thing is, even at top stats, which I'm not taking, I'm usually looking at level 15, 20, 15, because that's kind of that's around the level I have my pile on the Iron Man. You wouldn't still get enough speed to double the final boss with Garm, and that's bad. That and the fact that, you know, the multi-type units that can use Garm will make use of Garm better than you. So you're more of a utility for joining early, because at that moment I would not be able to make them into Axiosers. Okay, who's going to be now? Okay, I'll do this even though it's a little slower, just to make sure it doesn't happen again. And so now we have Gary. Okay, Gary. I know Gary can promote and use axes, but I'm not putting them there. Please. He's going to be on swords and he's going to be on replacement. That is, not only because that's kind of what I did on my Iron Man, but it is more what he deserves. There R axis, but like he began with E or D rank axis. Training him into S rank will take a while, and I don't think it's worth it. Also, I had wasted a lot of 1 to range axis by the time I could promote him, and even though I may have 1, I would have, 1. And as a replacement, considering a replacement like the second axe user instead of the replacement unit you would train, she wouldn't get access to that 1 to range. There would be not enough 1 to range access at that point for both. And that would lead access to be only 1 range for him at most, which isn't great. It would only be a little more damage output. I'm not sure whether he should be considered better than Erika or not, because as mentioned, Erika doesn't need to train for S rank to get that, so Erika should be considered worse. Erika also joins later. The Erika does get a horse at some point. And I also don't remember when I managed to promote Garrick, who I was training for my sword replacement. So maybe he's better than Erika, maybe he's not, because Erika still force deploy and more availability. I'm just going to leave that this way. Okay. Who is it going to be now? So now we have, after Garrick, Gilliam. Gilliam is multi-type because he can get access to Grey Knight. The difference is that he's bad, he's slow, even with the Karm, he's not getting enough speed to double the final boss. And he joins at the same time as Franz, so obviously he's not better than Franz. He's going to be a utility, because I'm not going to place him as a meme. And even though knights are hard, also Amelia might be considered better than Gilliam for the fact that Amelia could go to Knight and then Grey Knight. And that is important because it lets you use the source on tier 1, considering the 20 tier 0, to avoid getting S rank on lances. He's still better because he joins earlier, he has much more base defense, and that can be helpful. So yeah, let's load the next one. And the next one is Ines. So Ines is on bows, and he'll be the main on bows. It's pretty self-explanatory why he's main, because we're talking about the Erika route. And because we're talking about the Erika route, she joins the first chapter, you get on Erika route. I know Naomi would join sooner, but like, you're not going to make Naomi level 20 before that. not unless you really wanted to. And even if you wanted to, James comes with the silver bow, and James has A rank on bows immediately. It's way easier to make him into S rank, and he's not going to have a combat much worse than Amy. Okay, who's next? Joshua. So I checked the growth for these units as well, the stats, things, not supports. I haven't checked supports because that's team building and that would be hard to consider. And I also don't even know if supports exactly work. So Joshua, it's surprisingly going to be worse than Corm, because Corm joins sooner. Corm has deep utility, at least early on, because technically you can promote Joshua into an assassin. That said, both units as an assassin will share the same con, and that is 9 con, as you mentioned. That's a con, that's a con, which is something. I was considering putting Joshua better than Colm, but that's before checking Colm's growth and stats. So yeah, Colm is better mainly because of Thief utility. I think Thief utility might do better for Colm, being able to focus on only one unit instead of deploying him specifically to steal those things, being able to just make him both things, both the main sword and the thief. It's nice to have, because it frees you one slot. Joshua could do better on Swordmaster. On Swordmaster, he gets enough con to not get slowed down by the Ulma, so that is something. And the crits are nice because it could let you one round some enemies you couldn't before, or one shot some enemies on say weapon uses. As mentioned, there is not that much issue with weapon uses, but it's still there. It's something you could value. Thief utility is something I would always need, and because I want weapons, it's more important. It's even more important than on other tier lists getting the chest, because they probably contain weapons that you can't use. If I remember correctly, there is a javelin in the first chapter. You get Calm. Okay, who's next? Null seems to be next. Null is on dark, and he's going to be on utility. And he's going to be before L1. Probably on a regular tier list, L1 would be better, or everyone would be before Null. And not on this case, because I think I mentioned that already. The only Dharmatic weapons you get, at least the first Dharmatic weapons you get, are on Null. And that means that even if you want to make L1 a summoner, you'll have to go summon first, and on summon you have only access to Dharmatic. I really doubt you find a way to level him up level 10 without weapons. Good on you if you do it. But yeah, most likely Null will have level 10 at the chapter he joins, and everyone would still be stuck at level 1 summon. So Null can easily promote into a summoner right away, everyone cannot. That is huge difference. Even if you manage to make him level 10 within one chapter or two, it's still something. I forgot to rename someone. Oh, I forgot to rename. Okay, who's now? People who's watching this could you know, guess mentally who's going to be next, because as said, they are on alphabetical order, or at least that's, I think that's how they are. So now we have Kyle next. Kyle is, I mentioned that before, Kyle is, yes, better for, slightly better for, because, okay, little higher. Kyle is a better for current utility. He can have this. He can have the speed to double the final boss with Karm. He's bulkier and he'll have more strength than 4. That makes him better for current utility and also one shots. On my Iron Man I was always 2-point source to get a one shot on many chapters from the early part of Erika route and maybe on later ones. But that was because I didn't use the energy drain. So I don't think 4 would have ever been close to get a one shot at that moment. While Kyle could do. That would save me some uses. And I think maybe it was with hand access, which is important because saving hand access would have been very nice. But yeah, he's better than 4. The only thing 4 would have better over him would be later on, and he can have the speed to double with Speed of Near against the final boss. And this is still something because that means that you could, you know, use both. You could use both, maybe over leveling one first as the main and making the second one the carry, the replacement. The replacement, but like you use him as a second user, but like you don't train him that much on Axis if you don't want it to. You could train him for lances and get a bit of near. That's why they're a multi-type mainly. Though Kyle, more of a multi-type, is more like he goes for Karm upon promotion, but before promotion he isn't using Axis, so it's not like I could place him on Axis because half his level he's using lances or swords, and he could, once he gets S rank on Axis, he can start using lances again without any problem. Okay, who's it now? Laracel. Okay, so Laracel is going to be on staves. Staves. Where should I put her? I think you do better on utility because you are the third staff only unit you get, and you're on a horse, so rescue drops are at least a thing. You came with B rank, which isn't great, so it's not too much what you could do. Training her for light or anima is possible. I wouldn't recommend that because it takes a while for you to achieve S rank that way, unless you really promote her for that purpose. You would most likely need to do the forest map and like route the forest map, focus on her. It's no fun, it takes a lot of time. Like mainly I don't think I'm going to try too high the units that would need that map to get S rank. Okay, who's now? Now we have loot. So loot is going to be on anima, and she's going to be a main. A main? Yes, it's going to be a main. I did mention I have low availability on animatoms, but like it's not that bad on a regular route. You get that fire tome. I think for a frame route you get maybe the same amount of animatomes, but you get them a little later, and that would make her a little worse. That said, she's still going to be better than A1 because she's going to be higher on level. And the weapons you get are the weapons that come with another magic user. So it's hard to say that she's lacking magic because she'll have the same chapters with the same magic than them, plus the ones she has before. The availability would be lower because she has less magic tomes, so it's not like she could be used on all the previous chapters if you overuse her a lot. She's obviously better than Arthur because she does get at least 2 animatomes on that part, so you could probably at least early promote her into a staff unit in case you want to keep using her. She might be fast enough to not get slowed down to not get double against the final boss with Excalibur. Might not be good, as he could get one shot. You may need the Seraphro from the last chapter to do so, as I needed. Wait, I mean, I didn't use, but I could have. I wouldn't need that. Still, she's probably the best anima main unit. I wouldn't put her as a replacement because she's joining early, and I wouldn't place her as utility because it's not that worth it. I mean, it is utility in the same sense of Arthur, but like she has more weapons, she can fight longer to the point that maybe she's not longer considered utility because she can always fight, she can always be trained. Okay, who's next? Okay, next we have Marisa. I could leave her where she is now that I think about it because, well, no, I could not. You're not, you're not, you're not multi-type, but you're a meme. That's for sure. I'm not sure how well you would be, how better you could be than Joshua. I don't really need to know because you join, I think, at the same level as Joshua. On the chapter you get Carrick, so you are worse than Joshua. You're not offering anything new than Garrick. At most, we could argue about Sasmir, I think that's what it's called. I gave that to Erika. I would rather give that to Erika and consider that as a perf weapon for her than using you. And yeah, you are probably not worth it. If you want to use her, you can. It'll take longer, you need more experience. It's probably possible. She's not giving us anything new. Okay, who's going to be now? Mulder. Okay, Mulder, you're the first healer. I'm not putting you at utility because of that. Because as mentioned really early on, I do believe you'll have enough staves to make use of something. Okay, that seems good. So I do think you'll be the best main for staves. Not like you should go for S rank on staves, but as mentioned, light magic availability is really bad. It's so bad that, like, even if you were to promote, you can barely fight with light magic. There's almost none. You can train him into S rank light magic, that's possible. And I argue that Mulder might do better than Arthur because of that. Upon promotion, I think you get D rank on light. The promotions from weapon rank, I'm not so sure, but I think they're the same for both. Which doesn't mean too much, but like if you want to get something, it seems okay, how do I say it? Arthur comes with E rank on light. You can have D rank at base. Like you can have D rank on light without using weapons. Arthur would need to use light magic to at least promote. He could probably be at D rank upon promotion, but like you need to waste the weapons before, and it doesn't feel right. Like it feels better to save the light tomes for a cleric like him and then use them. It's probably not the case, it probably doesn't matter, but it feels that way. Still, he comes with C rank on staves. I think Arthur can also have C rank on staves if he promotes. I think Mulder is better. And technically Mulder joins. Does Mulder join sooner? He does. He joins at the same chapter as Vanessa. So you join earlier, you're better. I'm not sure. I think Mulder is better. If you disagree, you could leave a comment about that. Okay, who's it going to be next? Next we have Mir. Okay, Mir. You go here because, as mentioned, Mir is a special unit. Mir has a perf weapon that no one else can use. So it's not like I can place her on Axis, Lances, Swords, Staves, Anima, Bows, Dark, nor Light. At most I could place her on Swords because she's one range slug. But like that's the best thing I could do for her. That's if I don't want to tire her as a special unit. And I'd say that I should tire her as a special unit because the perf is like a secret weapon. It's effective against the final boss and against terrors. I think it's also effective. Maybe it's not effective against terror. It's still really good weapon that gives a lot of stats. You need to train her, but like she has a perf weapon, no one else can use that. So you better make use of her because that's a resource you'll be missing on. Who's going to be now? Natasha. Okay, Natasha. You can be as a replacement. You will be the replacement of Mulder. You're not going to be on main because you have D rank and Mulder has C rank. There's no point in using you over him. Staff rank is relatively important. I think you could maybe still train her into S rank, but like, yeah, that other guy joins earlier and he has better weapon rank. You kinda don't want anything else for a staff unit, and light magic is bad. it's almost not there. Okay, now we have Naomi. So Naomi would go replacement. No, you would go on utility. You would actually go on utility. The same reason as Arthur would go on utility. And probably the same reason as Garcia would go on utility. I rather save the weapons for the main user because they're scarce. There aren't that many bows, and might as well make sure Ines could have bows to fight. Because if I had wasted the bows that Nemi came with before Ines joins, Ines would have, I think, only the silver bow and a long bow little later on before getting the steel bow, and I was already lacking a little. Well, I guess I did lose Nemi. I lost Nemi on the Iron Man, and I lost the bows. Yeah, that's what happened if you lose the bows, that you run out of them. So yeah, she's more of a utility in case you want to use another unit, you want to use a bow user for some reason, because I don't think there are that many bows. But like, I'm not going to place her as a meme, because if you want to use her, you can use her, and she could become a bow knight. I just think that's what it's called, and at least that would let her have a horse. Okay, who do we have next? We have Renak. Well, that's a utility unit. Where are the swords? Your utility, I don't think I need to explain anything about that. You are there to steal things in case you don't have lockpicks, you have lost them, they have stolen you the lockpicks. You don't have almost, you have almost no strength. So yeah, you would be more of a utility more than anything else. Who's gonna be this time? Bros. You can be with your father. You join at the same time, and you have lower, and you have less levels. I was trying to train him as a replacement unit on my Iron Man. I checked the stats, and it seems that even at that level he barely he barely reached the speed for Garm. He's faster than Garcia. I guess maybe I should pull him before, but because you had to train him a little more, I kinda don't want to. That's it. I think Garcia gets access to Warrior and Hero, while you could also get into Berserker, which lets you go for crit bonuses. So maybe some people would argue about him being better than Garcia, but at the same time and you are lower in level, it might be better to use Garcia at most. And they're not even good for replacements because you had to train them a lot for replacements. It's possible there are probably enough swords for that. I think Dosla would do better. I don't think I could make these units into Dosla by the time Dosla joins if I'm using them as a replacement. And let's see who's next. So now we have Seth. And what were you? Oh yeah, you're a paladin. You're a sword lances dog. Because of that, I'm not going to put you up there. Like, people would complain, but I think I think I don't want that to change. Okay. And let me move you where you should be, which turns out to be well, not there. Did I make you bigger for some reason? Yeah, I made you bigger by accident. So you're going to be as a lance replacement. I'll explain that in a second. A little lower. More or less. So why are you a lance replacement? First, I was going to say that I did try to make him my sword main on my Iron Man, so putting him on lance as a replacement is odd. But like, these tires are diagonally placed, so they could be considered as good as others. I'm not putting him as multi-type because you don't get access to axes, which is important. You get access to swords on top of lances, and that is a worse weapon type, so it's not worth increasing your value. It's not too good increasing your value because of that. You are most certainly the best replacement. And why are you a replacement again? You're a replacement because you can easily reach S rank on lances or swords. It's better to go for lances, and I think maybe you have A rank lances and B rank swords, so it's also easier to get S rank lances. I did check your stats and your speed is low. Even at cap level you won't reach enough speed to double the final boss, even with one speed when you don't. And that's really bad. I wouldn't use you because you'll be missing on more damage output than other units. Like Cormac, I think actually, or Wyvern Knight could at cap level reach that speed, but as mentioned, I'm not taking into account cap level 2020 and choosing for 2015 because that's what my main unit Kyle had by the end. So yeah, even though you're good, you're the best lance replacement, you're a replacement. There are better lance units, flyers. At some point I'll put them there once they join. There are better lance units, and having swords is nice, the rescue drop is nice. You're more than just utility, that's for sure, because you're like Killian but with speed. And that doesn't make Gillian better just because he's closer to the top left. That doesn't make him better. But yeah, you should be there because I do believe Paul and Kyle being better than you and Franz. I'm not sure if I took this out, but Kyle 4 joins a 5x, which is an exclusive charter for them to get experience on a Rika route, because you wouldn't give experience to Ephraim. Also, it's not like a good idea to cap the level of Ephraim and then not use him. So yeah, it's better for them. They will get more experience, and that makes them better than France. You had to tame France more to reach their level, and then reach even farther to reach more. I don't think France is better than them, and Seth is also no exception. Not because of experience, but because, as I mentioned, his stats are lacking by the end. And like by the final boss, his stats are lacking by the final boss. But yeah, Kyle is bulkier and Paul can have the speed. I appreciate the speed a lot, even if it doesn't mean anything because I didn't check enemy stats. But like, you could consider this for anything. He's good. He's really good. He joins earlier. He can do something. He can steal the experience of other units. No, in all seriousness, he's just there. I would not push him as a main on lances because I would rather main other units, and I would not put him on multi-type because he doesn't get access to axes, and I would value more having both axes and lances at the same time, having all those one terrains. I do think as a main lance, you may lack javelins if you use too much, but you may not. There are quite a few, but like, yeah, it's hard to say because you would need to use a lot of javelins maybe, and that's why I also mention speedruns and LTCs, because if they do less fights, this guy Seth could do better because you wouldn't need all the weapons you can have access to, and I don't think, and maybe you don't even need all those javelins, one to range lances. They are available. If you use a lot, you may not have for other units in case you want a replacement. I'm still going to place him here. I think these units will do better. Like my Kyle on the Iron Man, he maybe have gotten a little blessed at some point, but like, he needed 2 chapters, one where he was getting experience and he was already performing almost as good as Seth, so it's hard for me to consider him better when I can only waste 2 chapters, one where Seth is not even there, and it's focused on giving those units experience. It's really hard for me to consider him better. Like, I would appreciate more the one to range than this. But yeah, let's move on. I don't think there will be many more characters. I hope. Okay, now we have Cyrene. Cyrene is a lance unit. I'm going to place Cyrene on utility again. I'm going to place Cyrene on utility for lances because she's kind of what she is. As mentioned, I kinda don't appreciate too much units that would probably need the force map to train. Like, you could train for a lance replacement and be good. Be even better than said if you cap your level, because you will have the speed to double. But like, yeah, to double the final boss. But like, yeah, if you had to, you probably had to use the forest to make her viable to reach S rank lances. I mean, maybe not. You still have 2 chapters. I was also skipping the chapter you join. So it's hard to say, but like, yeah, you're more of a utility. You also gives the triangle attack. You are the third unit that is needed for triangle attack. Maybe Cormac can do that as well. Maybe, but it feels like it. It feels like you're the S, but instead of a training unit, you're a pre-promote. You're a utility, and yeah, you are worse than Dussel. You also, I think, no, you can with a zero lance. Maybe you have A rank lances, but yeah, you're worse than Dussel, and I think you would probably be worse than Cormac, Anseth, and even Ephraim, because Ephraim, by the time you join, he promotes, so you'll get a horse. And yeah, you are probably worse than him. You'll be utility then. What's your name? Yeah, what's your name? By the way, as a reminder, even though the tiles that are closer to the top left doesn't mean they're better, because like, summoners are quite powerful. The summoning system is really broken. You could make use of that, and that is arguably better than me, Laracel, and Garcia, and Killiam even. Okay, Tana, where are you? Yeah, you are. Tana, you are the main user, or the main 4 lances. It is quite obvious that you are the main 4 lances, because you are fast. You can, even at level 15 or something, at level 20, 15, you can reach the speed double the final boss with Beat of Near. Maybe on any class you pick, in case you want swords or you want Pierce. I do not value Pierce too much, because skill proc it still is a thing available for you to maybe get more one-shots, maybe. And you're a flyer. Flyers do have more movement than a paladin. And you join right after I start a route, which isn't that much late. And there are a lot of lances for you to use, and you even came with a javelin, I think, if I remember, which means that you are at least guaranteed from the start to have a 1-2 range weapon for her if you wanted to. Now we have Tethys. You are obviously on a special, and before Mir, you are obviously better than Mir, because you have more availability and you can refresh an action of any unit. That includes Mir, so you can consider to be as valuable as Mir. And more, because more options. And I don't think I need to explain anything else, and you have no choice but to be there. I think there's still one more unit. Now we finally have the last unit. Wait, is this the last unit? I think I'm missing some other ones. I might have skipped some. I had to check. You are also a lance main. Lance main can be multiple. A replacement. If you're not maining if you're maining the first one, the other main can be a replacement. So you could consider these stars together, but like, not really. So yeah, Vanessa, I had to check units stats where there are multiple on the same tile, and you have way less strength. You can have almost the same defense and speed and resistance than Tana. I think Tana also gets more HP. But yep, you have way less strength, and that's bad, and that makes you worse. Like, you have quite a lot of quite less strength than Tana, and you probably don't really need her too much. But she still has the speed double, and she's the first one. You could train her for that. Maybe, like, if you're not going to think too high on her, she would go immediately to utility as the first early unit, like Arthur, Naomi, and things like that. But because Tana also needs to be trained, unlike Naomi and Ines, I would put her before, because training her sooner a little, it's something you could do. But yeah, if you don't really like her or whatever, you may think about her, still go to utility instead of replacement. She immediately goes to utility because she is not going to compare to Seth nor Cormac if you're thinking that way. But because she joins early and she can have the speed, the strength is annoying that she'll have less. Like, if you're going to main a unit, she's probably a unit that's going to be over level, and getting kills with an over level unit is usually not hard. Okay, I think I am missing someone, because I know I'm missing someone. The thing is, I don't know why I miss him, why I skip him. Did I skip him? I definitely did. So yeah, I skipped this unit, I skipped Saleh. I'm not sure why I did that. Saleh is also a main. Please. And I actually would pull him over for now that I think about it, because if I'm using, well, should I? Like, the thing is, I wouldn't use 4 if I'm using Kyle, but if I'm using Kyle, I would still use Saleh. So that's the reason why I pulled him over before. I would put Saleh before for that purpose. So Saleh is better than it's a main as well as loot. Does this mean you have to train both on Anima? No, like, Saleh is literally there because of the weapon rounds and because of Arthur. Like, Saleh comes with, I think, B rank on light magic, you're not getting B rank with any other unit. You're not getting B rank upon promotion with any stave, and you're not getting B rank with Archer only for promotion bonuses. You get C rank at most, maybe. So you have the highest like rank magic. For that, you'll be the main on light. That like you can also use staves, and you can also use anima. You actually have more anima rank than light, so you would also you can also be used for anima main. In fact, using you for anima main might do better because Excalibur gives you speed, which probably is required to double the final boss or not double the final boss with you. And like with Ivaldi, yeah, that's something you could do. Then again, if you're going to use, I would suggest for this challenge to use Loot as anima and him as light, just so you could get both S rank weapons, and train Molder as a main on staves for S rank on staves in case you still want Latona for some reason. I didn't use Latona on my Iron Man, and I also didn't use Fortify. Okay, let me count how many units are. 2, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 18. I had to change this. 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. I think there are all of them. I hope I haven't missed any. Let me change these to have you where you should be, just to look a little better. Okay, so the other things plays more or less nicely. Did they change your name? I have not. I have also forgotten Vanessa. Alright, let me see any more things to maybe move slightly. These units. Okay, I think that seems good enough. So let's check the units we have. Yes, fine. Just to finish this. So we have a special that is a mirror. They're unique. They have unique things, unique weapon, unique class. I could not tire them otherwise. We have multi-type. We have pile for they're going for Grey Knight, and they have a unique chapter where they would get experience. As a reminder, this is still focus more on a Rico route, and a frame route would not matter that much. I would still put them there because you can have many other chapters to train a frame, but yet it would be less valuable. You have Sally as well because of weapon ranks and light magic being almost non-existent. Then we have the replacements for France and Dual Soul being self-explanatory for the AAA rank, and France because he can have better stats than 4, but like you will always use you should always use Kyle or 4 before France. No, sorry if I explained that before, I'll tell that again. You're going to have the experience on those units, so might as well use them and then use France as a replacement, as a second user, or whoever or whichever you want to call, whichever term you want to call him. But yeah, you're going to use them a little. If you're going to use France and then them, you're still going to use them. If you're going to use them and then France, you're still going to use them. But you can use them and then not use France. But if you use him, if you use France, you're still going to use the other ones. Then we have utility with Helium. That makes sense. He's just a wall for a little. Maybe. Then Amelia, just being lower, really low in level. Then Axis, Dosla, B rank, that's something. Garm will probably give him the speed to knock it all by the final boss, at least. Garcia, kind of the same as Dosla, but you will need to train him and you don't get the crit bonus. I discarded the choices of making these units into bow users. That could be something, maybe, but like, because I tire Axis over bows, I don't value that. I think that would be a worse choice than training them for Garm. Cross, worse stats than Garcia because low in level. Maybe better, maybe worse. Lances, Tan and Vanessa being the best ones. Tan over Vanessa because better strength. And replacements, we have Seth, Cormac, and Ephraim. Seth, you're going to get S-rank lances almost guaranteed. So it's a really nice replacement, the best one, because you might not even need to do anything to get him as a replacement. Cormac is something, maybe he can do something. He's a flyer. He could be maybe as bulky as Kyle, but as a flyer with more move. But like, you'll be locked to only lances on swords, maybe. Ephraim, you get a perf. It's good. You don't need to worry about training him too much. You can have weapons you need to use, so it's a good idea to use you. But like, you should not do combat on an armament perspective, and you have less availability on every route. Siren, really late. You would probably need the forest to train. Calm, a fifth utility. He can have really nice speed to double things, and that makes him better than Joshua, who would do the same, but like without the fifth utility until promotion in case you make him assassin. It could be considered better if you really think crits would be worth it. Erika, sword replacement, kind of the same thing. The utility, you'll be forced to use her, perf weapons. Carrick is a sword because you probably won't have access if you're training one of the main multi-types for Karm or France or someone with access. If you want to use them, you could maybe try to train him for that, and it would be good. It's just there are other units that would do it better. But yeah, if you really want to, maybe he could be a multi-type. Renak, source, utility, his stuff sucks. Yes, utility, yes, use him for that. Marisa joins at the same chapter as Carrick, and it's like Joshua later on, so why would you use her? Mulder, Staves, they're nice, great, and perfect. C rank. No other unpromoted staff unit have that. Natasha, D rank, you are worse because of that. The same class, so it had to be only replacement. Larcel, you'll get a horse. You have a horse even without promotion, so that is something you can always do. But you also have the rank and join even later than Natasha, way later. loot anima, and the only one with the only one on that column that's funny, that like, yeah, she's good, she can be good, she might still need some stat boosters to survive against the final boss, but you can probably do it. She can support for a boy quite nicely, but like, and that's not a you don't. I'm not going to take supports into account. She has a lot of. She's supposed to be like Lillian and have magic, so yeah. Bows in has been the main one. A rank at base. I don't think I need to explain anything else. And he joins right after it started recall, only one chapter later. Naomi is worse than him. I said that you would rather save the bow you have for him for games just so he could still fight. Dark magic, you don't get magic until the desert with null, and that sucks. That's really hurts. You kinda want it sooner, but you don't. You still have the utility of summoner. Training him for S rank will require the forest, probably the same as Turen. A1 even worse on this because you cannot buy weapons, so you won't be able to make him into a summoner until the desert, and you would still need to train him until level 10 at least. Unlike Null, who starts at level 10, and Arthur, probably the worst unit on this challenge, honestly. He's lacking weapons. He just needs weapons, but like he cannot get that. You had to really put the effort into him as well to make him level 10 within the light zone you come with him. Within the light zone you have at base, and you have with him at base, and when he joins you have that. You need to put effort into him to tank weapon rank for divine and still use him without promoting him, or train him for, or put effort into him for experience so he could reach level 10 to early promote and use tapes. He's the worst unit. I just couldn't deal with that. It's possible, it's not worth it. Like, Saleh is a multi-type main and you're almost at the bottom. I maybe should put you a meme, but I don't want to, because at least you can have this up, which is something. Alright then, I think that's a good moment to stop this tier list. I think I more or less summarized everything. If you have different opinions, please leave a comment. I know you may not have played this challenge. It's not hard. It's not hard. I mean, I beat it twice. I did an Iron Man with it. You could try it if you wanted to. I don't think you may need it. Probably, if there's anything you may want to reconsider, leave a comment, say why. Like the video if you like this. This video has been for over 1 hour. It's been my first video with tier list, and I would like to know if you like the background, the system I made for tiring this free-to-play challenge. I could maybe do it for other games. I would probably need to play them again so I could have more or less an idea of which unit could do better and which unit could not. And yeah, I guess I'll see you on another video, maybe. Bye.